In the depths of an alien world, a human security chief is about to uncover a secret that could change the fate of two species forever. Liam Carter, Earth's top diplomatic security officer, thought his mission on Lethria would be routine, until he stumbled upon something he wasn't supposed to see, an invisible alien woman hidden in plain sight. Now, as they join forces to stop a dangerous syndicate from stealing Lethrian technology, they find themselves caught in a conspiracy that runs deeper than either of them could have imagined. Trust is a luxury, and betrayal lurks in every shadow. Can they survive what's coming? The clock is ticking, the stakes are higher than ever. This is no longer just a diplomatic mission. It's a fight for survival. Will their unlikely alliance survive the truth? If you're new here, then please subscribe this channel and show thumbs up by liking the video. Now let's move to this wonderful story. Liam Carter stood alone on the rocky surface of Lethria, Earth's newest diplomatic outpost on the distant planet. As the chief of Earth's diplomatic security, his role was clear: maintain peace, protect his fellow humans, and ensure that nothing would disrupt their relationship with the native species of Lethria. The planet was strange, beautiful, and teeming with life, but it was also a place of mystery, with dangerous unknowns lurking just out of sight. The air was cool and crisp, carrying with it the scent of exotic alien flora, mixed with the faint aroma of sulfur from the nearby hot springs. The sky above was streaked with purples and oranges, as the twin suns of Lethria began to dip below the horizon, casting a soft glow across the jagged mountain peaks. The quiet was almost unnatural, broken only by the occasional rustle of the wind or the distant cries of strange creatures. Liam's suit, the latest in human military technology, gleamed in the fading light. The white armor was almost blinding, designed for both protection and stealth. His helmet, equipped with advanced sensors, displayed a constant stream of data: environmental readings, potential threats, and subtle shifts in the terrain. Today, though Liam wasn't concerned with any immediate danger, his patrols were often routine, just a way to ensure everything was running smoothly. But as he moved through the alien landscape, his sensors began to pick up something unusual. A faint signal, barely detectable at first, pinged on his display. It was unlike any normal reading. His trained eyes scanned the data, and it didn't take long for him to realize what it was. A heat signature, faint but unmistakable, had appeared on his radar, and yet there was no visible presence in the landscape to match it. No life form was moving. His eyes narrowed behind his helmet's visor. Curiosity piqued. Liam adjusted the settings on his helmet, enhancing the visual display, and began to walk toward the source of the anomaly. As he moved, his footsteps echoed across the rocks, the sound cutting through the eerie silence. The further he went, the stronger the signal became. It led him to a secluded hot spring, its steam rising into the air like wisps of smoke, obscuring the view of the water below. Liam halted at the edge of the spring, scanning the area. His eyes darted back and forth, looking for any sign of movement. There was nothing, yet the heat signature was still there, nestled within the swirling steam. He stepped closer, carefully making his way around the steaming pools, his sensors working overtime to locate the source. The water was a clear blue, but the steam made it difficult to see clearly. He moved silently, each step calculated. His mission was simple: to investigate any anomalies, even if they seemed unimportant at first. And then he saw her. A figure, a humanoid shape, appeared in the water. But it wasn't just the shape of a being, it was her. The alien woman was stunning. Her skin shimmered a pale lavender, reflecting the soft light from the twin suns. Her long, dark hair cascaded over, her shoulders flowing like liquid midnight. She was moving gracefully through the water, completely unaware of his presence. Liam froze, his breath catching in his chest. The figure before him was beautiful, yes, but more than that, she was utterly invisible to the naked eye. He could see her only through his helmet's advanced vision settings. The sensors picked up her heat signature, revealing the shape of her body beneath the swirling steam, but to the rest of the world, she was unseen. He couldn't help but feel a sense of awe at the sight. This was a Lethrian, one of the native species of the planet, and they were known for their incredible camouflage abilities. Liam had heard the rumors about their ability to blend seamlessly into their surroundings, becoming invisible to anyone who wasn't trained to detect them. But seeing it in person was something else entirely. It was as if she were a part of the very environment itself. For a moment he was tempted to turn away, to respect her privacy and leave her to her peaceful solitude. But something held him there. His curiosity, his duty as a diplomatic envoy, and perhaps something deeper, something purely human, kept him rooted to the spot. After what felt like an eternity, Liam spoke, his voice modulated and calm through his helmet's speakers. "Interesting place for a swim," he said, his tone neutral but carrying the weight of his presence. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The alien woman's head snapped around, her eyes wide with shock. Her lavender skin flushed a deeper shade of purple as she realized someone could see her. Her body tensed and she quickly grabbed a towel from a nearby rock, wrapping it tightly around herself. She rose from the water, the tension in her posture clear. How can you see me?" she demanded, her voice carrying an unexpected musical quality despite her distress. The sudden shift from serene calm to startled alarm was almost palpable. In the air between them, Liam stepped back slightly, giving her space, his heart still racing from the unexpected encounter. "Advanced Earth technology," he replied smoothly. "It has its advantages." The woman studied him with a new intensity, her shock turning into curiosity. "You're human," she said almost to herself, as if testing the word in her mind. "I've heard of your kind. The new arrivals. The ones making waves across the galaxy." Liam nodded. "That's us. I'm Liam Carter, Earth's diplomatic security chief here on Lethria." For a long moment neither of them spoke, the silence hanging between them. The woman, still gripping the towel, seemed to relax slightly but remained on edge, her mind racing to process the unexpected turn of events. She finally gave a small nod. "I am Ileana. I work in Lethrian diplomacy." Liam studied her closely, noting the way she shifted in the water, still trying to conceal herself, though her camouflage flickered in and out. "I apologize for interrupting," he said, his tone softer now. "I was just surprised to detect someone out here." Ileana let out a deep breath, her lavender skin fading back to its natural hue as she glanced at him with a mix of curiosity and wariness. "You've caught me off guard, but I suppose that's what happens when humans encounter Lethrians. You're not as easily fooled as the others." Liam smiled behind his helmet, the humor not entirely lost on him. "I guess we're full of surprises." His tone was light, but there was an underlying seriousness to his words. She eyed him thoughtfully, for a moment, before a small smile tugged at the corner of her lips. "I'm still mortified," she admitted, though her voice had softened. "Our natural camouflage is supposed to be perfect." Liam nodded, taking another step back to give her space. "Maybe it is, against most species' vision," he said, gently. "But human ingenuity has a way of overcoming such obstacles." As the silence settled between them once more, Ileana gave him a sharp look, curiosity sparking in her eyes. "Tell me more about these human innovations," she said, her voice tinged with both admiration and intrigue. "Maybe over dinner?" Liam, caught off guard by her directness, raised an eyebrow, his voice warm. "That's quite forward of you." Ileana shrugged, her towel still held tightly around her body. "We Lethrians believe in seizing opportunities when they present themselves." Liam chuckled softly, surprised by the ease with which their conversation had flowed despite the awkwardness of their first encounter. "I suppose so, but perhaps next time you should pick a more private place for a swim." "Perhaps," she said with a playful glint in her eye, "but you've already seen more of me than most beings ever will." Liam smiled, a sense of warmth growing between them as he realized this unlikely meeting might just lead to something much deeper than either of them could have imagined. As he turned to leave, his mind wandered to the possibilities. This strange, silent encounter in the hot spring had just opened the door to something far more intriguing, something that might change not only his life, but the future of interspecies diplomacy itself. Days passed since Liam's unexpected encounter with Ileana, and he found himself reflecting on that moment more often than he cared to admit. What began as a simple diplomatic patrol had turned into something more, a connection that neither of them had anticipated. Despite the formalities of their positions, something had shifted between them, something unspoken, but undeniable. Liam's patrols on Lethria were routine, or at least they were supposed to be. His role as Earth's diplomatic security chief often kept him busy with security measures, liaison duties, and a never-ending cycle of meetings with Lethrian officials. But after meeting Ileana, he felt an unease settle in his chest, a feeling he couldn't shake no matter how hard he tried to focus on his work. As the sun set on another long day, Liam stood in front of his quarters in the diplomatic compound, preparing for another meeting. He was supposed to discuss recent security developments with his fellow Earth diplomats, but his mind kept wandering to the previous evening. He couldn't stop thinking about Ileana's violet skin, the way her eyes had flickered with surprise when she realized he could see through her invisibility, and the soft melodic tone of her voice. It wasn't just her appearance that intrigued him. It was the way she carried herself, the quickness of her wit, and the sharp intelligence that gleamed in her eyes. He wasn't sure what to make of their encounter. Was it just a fleeting moment, a simple diplomatic curiosity? Or was there something more beneath the surface, something that could change everything for both humans and Lethrians? Liam's thoughts were interrupted by a soft chime from his communicator. A message had arrived from Ileana. "Dinner tonight? I'm still curious about these human innovations you mentioned. How about you tell me more over a meal? Ileana." Liam smiled, the weight in his chest lifting slightly. He didn't have to think twice. He quickly typed out his response. "I'd be happy to. See you tonight at Stellar Spice at sunset. I'm looking forward to it. Liam." As the message sent, Liam couldn't help but wonder, what would this dinner be like? Was it just a continuation of their conversation, a chance to share knowledge and learn from each other? Or would it be the start of something more, something neither of them had planned for? Stellar Spice was a well-known restaurant in the Lethrian diplomatic quarter, famous for its fusion of alien cuisine and human-inspired dishes. The bioluminescent crystals that adorned the restaurant's walls created a soft, inviting glow, casting long shadows across the intimate tables. The air was thick with the scent of exotic spices, both familiar and foreign, a blend of earthiness and sweetness that made Liam's mouth water. Liam arrived early, eager to make a good impression. He had traded in his Pathfinder armor for a more casual civilian suit, a well-fitted dark ensemble that highlighted his athletic build. He made his way to a secluded booth in the corner, one that was shaded by the shimmering crystalline formations. The booth offered privacy, and Liam had a feeling he would need it. This wasn't just another diplomatic meeting. As he settled into his seat, his enhanced vision picked up on a familiar figure entering the restaurant. Ileana. She walked into the room, her long violet hair catching the soft light and a flowing dress that shimmered with the same ethereal glow as the bioluminescent crystals. She looked nothing like the alien diplomat Liam had seen at meetings. Tonight, she was someone different. Ileana made her way toward the booth, her usual aura of confidence mixed with a touch of uncertainty. Liam stood up to greet her, his heart racing. "Old habits die hard, I see," Liam said with a smile, noting the way she allowed her natural camouflage to flicker in and out, as though trying to stay hidden from the prying eyes of others. Ileana let out a soft laugh, the sound carrying an unspoken tension. "I guess they do," she replied, sliding gracefully into the booth opposite him. "Though I suppose around you there's no point in hiding." Liam chuckled. "I've had that effect on a few people." As they settled into the booth, the conversation began casually enough. They spoke about food, culture, and the differences between their two worlds. Ileana's interest in human technology was genuine, her eyes lighting up as she asked about Earth's advancements. She marveled at the technological feats humanity had accomplished in such a short time. But as the evening wore on, the conversation shifted. Liam couldn't deny the chemistry that simmered beneath the surface. Every glance, every word seemed to carry more weight than it should have. Their connection was undeniable, and neither of them could ignore it. "So, tell me more," Ilyana said, leaning forward slightly, her voice taking on a more playful tone. "About these human innovations. Tell me why you're all so determined to make a mark in the galaxy. What drives you?" Liam studied her for a moment, his eyes softening. "It's simple," he replied. "We don't have the luxury of time. Our lives are short, and we're always pushing to make the most of them. Every day counts for us. That's why we're so relentless. That's why we push boundaries, because we don't know how much time we have left." Ilyana nodded, her blue eyes thoughtful. "That's an interesting way to look at it," she mused. "It's endearing in a way." Liam raised an eyebrow. "Endearing, huh?" Ilyana smiled, her lips curling into a soft, knowing expression. "It's just that humans are so intense. You throw yourselves into everything with such passion. It's what makes you so fascinating. You don't hesitate. You act. You don't sit back and wait for things to happen. You make them happen." Liam's heart skipped a beat as he realized what she was saying. There was an unspoken understanding between them. The way she looked at him now, it was different. It wasn't just about diplomacy or cultural curiosity. There was something deeper here, something more personal. Before he could respond, their drinks arrived and the conversation shifted once again. The waiter, a multi-limbed being from the nearby Centauri system, set their glasses down and left, with a polite bow. Ilyana's drink was a glowing, vibrant concoction that seemed to shimmer with an internal fire. She sipped it delicately, her eyes never leaving Liam. "You're right," she said after a moment. "I've been studying your species for a long time. It's what I do, but I have to admit I didn't expect it. This." Liam leaned in, intrigued. "This?" he asked softly. Ilyana's voice dropped to a whisper as though sharing a secret. "This connection between us. I didn't expect it to be this intense." Liam's pulse quickened. There it was, the unspoken truth hanging between them. He had felt it too, but neither of them was ready to name it just yet. Instead, they continued, their conversation now with a different undertone. Their words were lighter, but there was an electricity in the air, a charge that neither of them could ignore. As the evening came to a close, they both knew this was far from the last time they would meet. The following days seemed to blur together for Liam and Ilyana. Their conversations continued over private meetings, late-night walks through the diplomatic quarter, and stolen moments where they learned more about each other's worlds. What began as mere curiosity had slowly deepened into something more personal, something neither of them had expected. Despite their growing bond, they couldn't ignore the reality of their roles. Liam was Earth's diplomatic security chief, responsible for maintaining order and ensuring the fragile peace between their species. Ilyana, on the other hand, was a Lethrian diplomat, a member of her planet's elite intelligence division. They were both bound by their duties, and yet, the tension between them only seemed to grow as they spent more time together. One evening, as the sun set behind the towering crystalline structures of Lethria, Liam received an urgent message from his superiors. The diplomatic situation had escalated. The Veil, a shadowy syndicate operating across the galaxy, had made a bold move on Lethria. Intelligence suggested that they were attempting to steal critical Lethrian technology, specifically the secrets behind their incredible camouflage abilities. Liam knew this could not be ignored. The Veil was known for its ruthlessness, its disregard for life, and its willingness to exploit any technology to gain an advantage. They had already caused havoc on multiple planets, and now it seemed they had set their sights on Lethria. Liam turned to Ilyana, the weight of the situation settling on his shoulders. "We need to move fast," he said, his voice steady but filled with urgency. The Veil is on the move. They're after your technology, and they won't stop until they have it. Ilyana, ever calm and composed, nodded. I knew it was only a matter of time, she said, her voice cool, though her eyes betrayed a hint of concern. But I never expected them to be this bold. They both understood the stakes. If the Veil succeeded in acquiring Lethrian camouflage technology, it would give them the power to become invisible to any detection system. To infiltrate any system undetected, it would be a nightmare for the galaxy, and Liam knew that if they didn't act quickly, everything they had worked for, the fragile alliance between humans and Lithrians, could be destroyed in an instant. How do you want to play this? Liam asked, turning toward Ilyana. Despite the gravity of the situation, there was an unspoken understanding between them, one that went beyond their diplomatic roles. I have my connections, Ilyana said, her voice low but determined. I can find out where they're hiding, but we need to move carefully. The Veil won't hesitate to kill anyone who gets in their way. Liam's eyes narrowed as he thought about the mission ahead. We'll need backup, but it's risky. We'll have to infiltrate their base. It'll be dangerous. Ilyana stepped closer to him, her eyes meeting his. I know the risks, but I also know that we can't afford to let them win. We'll do this together. Liam felt a surge of confidence as he looked at her. Despite the danger, there was something about their partnership that made him believe they could succeed. He nodded. Together. The next day, they set their plan into motion. Ilyana used her connections within Lethrian intelligence to track down the Veil's hideout, a hidden facility, on one of Lethria's moons far from the prying eyes of the diplomatic compound. The Veil had been operating under the radar for months, but Ilyana's expertise allowed her to break through their encrypted channels and gain access to their movements. Liam, meanwhile, coordinated with his Earth contacts, gathering a small team of highly trained operatives who could assist in the mission. The operation was delicate. If they were caught, it could mean the end of their alliance with Lethria. The stakes were higher than either of them cared to admit, but they both understood the gravity of the situation. As the team assembled, Liam felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. He wasn't just protecting Earth's interests anymore. He was protecting a future that depended on the success of this mission, and he wasn't going to let the Veil ruin it. They traveled to the moon under the cover of darkness, using stealth technology to avoid detection. The journey was long and silent, but the tension between Liam and Ilyana was palpable. Despite the stakes, their unspoken connection remained. Every glance, every touch, seemed to carry more meaning than the last. They both knew that what they were doing was dangerous, but they also knew that they were doing it for something greater than themselves. As they arrived at the facility, Liam's helmet display lit up with a flurry of activity. Their approach had triggered a security breach, and the facility's alarms began to blare. Liam swore under his breath. They've found us. Ilyana didn't hesitate. We need to move fast, this way. She led the way, her natural camouflage flickering, as she blended into the shadows. Liam followed close behind, his senses heightened, every instinct on high alert. They moved quickly through the corridors, the sound of their footsteps barely audible against the hum of the facility's systems. They reached the main control room, where the Veil's mercenaries were busy working on their plans. Liam and Ilyana exchanged a quick glance before moving into position. Ready? Liam whispered. Ilyana nodded. Let's end this. The door to the control room hissed open, and the team burst in, weapons drawn. A brief, intense firefight erupted, but with Liam's team covering them, Ilyana and Liam advanced toward the main terminal. They needed to disable the Veil's communication system and destroy the data they were trying to steal. Almost there, Ilyana muttered as she hacked into the system, her fingers flying across the terminal's interface. Liam kept watch, his heart racing. He knew this was only the beginning. The Veil wasn't going to let them escape without a fight. And as soon as Ilyana finished, they would have to make their move, fast. As Ilyana completed the hack, a loud crash sounded behind them. The Veil's mercenaries had regrouped. They were coming for them. Go, Liam shouted. He and Ilyana moved in unison, their bodies working together like a well-oiled machine. Ilyana's camouflage flickered in and out as she dodged fire, blending with the shadows while Liam provided cover with his advanced weaponry. Their coordination was flawless, their bond strengthening with every step. They reached the exit, but just as they were about to escape, a blast hit the door, knocking them both to the ground. Liam's vision blurred as the force of the impact rattled his head, but he quickly recovered. "Ilyana!" he shouted, scrambling to his feet. She was already there, her natural camouflage flickering as she pulled him to safety. "We're not done yet," she said, determination in her voice. "Let's finish this." And together they fought their way out of the Veil's stronghold, knowing that the galaxy had just become a more dangerous place, and that their bond, once uncertain, had become their greatest strength. The air in the abandoned moon facility was thick with tension as Liam and Ilyana made their escape. Every footstep was measured, every breath controlled, as they navigated through the corridors, their minds racing with the knowledge of how close they had come to being caught. The mission had been a success in one sense. They had destroyed the Veil's plans to steal Lethrian technology, but as they made their way back to their shuttle, they knew the battle was far from over. Liam glanced over at Ilyana, her figure moving gracefully in the shadows, her natural camouflage blending with the dark walls. He had never seen anyone move quite like her. Her ability to vanish into the environment was both mesmerizing and unsettling. But it wasn't just her physical prowess that intrigued him. It was the quiet determination that radiated from her, the same fire that burned in his chest every time they faced a new challenge. "Are you okay?" Liam asked, his voice low but filled with concern. Ilyana's shimmering violet skin flickered with subtle light as her camouflage momentarily shifted. Her blue eyes met his, and for the first time he saw a glimpse of vulnerability in her gaze. "I'm fine," she said softly, though Liam could tell it was more of a reassurance to herself than to him. "But we need to keep moving." He nodded, understanding the weight of her words. The mission had been too close, and even now they weren't out of danger. The Veil might have been defeated for now, but they would be back, stronger, more prepared. And next time, they might not be so lucky. They reached the shuttle bay, where their transport awaited them. The sleek craft, equipped with the latest stealth technology, was their ticket off the moon and back to safety. But as Liam stepped inside, a sense of unease settled over him. Something felt off. Ilyana followed closely behind, her eyes scanning the room for any signs of danger. "What is it?" she asked, sensing his hesitation. "I'm not sure," Liam admitted. "Something doesn't feel right. We need to double-check the systems before we take off." As he began to inspect the shuttle's controls, Ilyana's sharp gaze fell on a small blinking light near the back of the bay. It was a signal she recognized instantly. "They've tagged us," she said with a tight frown. "We're not getting out of here that easily." Before Liam could respond, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed through the shuttle bay. A group of Veil mercenaries, their faces obscured by advanced helmets, stepped into view. They were armed, and their expressions were cold with intent. "Liam, get to the shuttle," Ilyana commanded, her voice low but firm. "I'll handle this." Liam hesitated for a moment, looking at her. "Ilyana, go," she snapped, her tone leaving no room for argument. Liam didn't need to be told twice. He sprinted toward the shuttle, his mind racing. He had no doubt in his abilities, but the sheer number of mercenaries in the bay made the situation more dangerous than he had anticipated. As he secured the shuttle's hatch and prepared for takeoff, he glanced back one last time at Ilyana, who was already engaging the mercenaries, her body flickering in and out of visibility as she used her camouflage to dodge their fire. A part of him wanted to stay and fight alongside her, but the mission, and their survival, came first. He powered up the shuttle, praying that she would make it aboard in time. Back on the diplomatic compound, the mood was tense. The mission had been successful, but the damage was already done. The Veil knew their weaknesses now, and they would stop at nothing to exploit them. Despite the setback, Liam couldn't help but feel a deep sense of admiration for Ilyana. She had fought with a grace and ferocity that most humans would never understand, and the way she had handled the mercenaries was nothing short of impressive. But the true challenge was yet to come. The veil was only a symptom of something far larger. There were forces within both their governments, humans and Lethrians alike, who wanted to keep the two species at odds, and they would do whatever it took to drive a wedge between them. The shadows that had followed them into the facility weren't just a threat to their mission, they were a threat to everything they had worked for. As Liam sat in the shuttle, his mind racing, a soft ping echoed from his communication device. It was a message from Ilyana. "We've been followed. It's not over yet. Stay alert. I'll meet you at the rendezvous point." Ilyana. Liam's heart raced as he read her message. She was alive, and that was all that mattered. But now the real fight began. He quickly set the coordinates for the rendezvous point, a remote location deep within the Lethrian wilderness. The place had been chosen for its isolation, far from the prying eyes of both Earth and Lethrian officials. It was here that they would regroup, plan their next move, and prepare for what was coming. Liam couldn't help but wonder if they were being drawn into something much larger than a simple power struggle, something that could change the fate of both their peoples. The shuttle landed softly in the clearing, its engines humming quietly as Liam stepped out. The dense Lethrian forest stretched out before him, the towering trees casting long shadows in the fading light. The air was thick with the scent of damp, earth and unfamiliar flowers, and the only sound was the distant rustle of leaves. Liam waited, his hand resting on the hilt of his weapon, his senses heightened. He didn't know how long it would take for Ilyana to arrive, but he was prepared for whatever came. The tension in the air was palpable, the weight of their shared history and the future of their relationship hanging in the balance. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, a figure emerged from the trees. It was Ilyana, her figure moving, with effortless grace, her natural camouflage flickering in and out of existence. Despite the danger they faced, there was something calming about seeing her again. She was alive, and that was all that mattered. "I didn't think you'd make it," Liam said, his voice a mix of relief and awe. Ilyana's eyes twinkled with amusement. "You should know by now that I'm not so easy to kill." She stepped forward, her gaze never leaving his. "We've got a long road ahead of us, Liam. The veil won't stop until they have what they want, and we both know there are darker forces at play." Liam nodded. He had been thinking the same thing. The veil might have been their immediate threat, but there were larger, more insidious forces at work. The conspiracy that had been brewing for months or perhaps even years was only just beginning to unfold. "Then we'll stop them," Liam said firmly, his voice steady. "Together." Ilyana's eyes softened, and for a moment, they stood there in silence, the weight of their mission pressing down on them. But it was in that silence that Liam realized something important. Their bond, forged in the heat of battle, had become something more. It was no longer just about diplomacy or survival. It was about trust, about knowing that together they could face whatever the galaxy threw their way. "We'll need to be smarter," Ilyana said, breaking the silence. "The veil won't make it easy for us, but with you and me, we might just stand a chance." Liam smiled, the sense of determination filling him once again. "Let's make sure we're ready for whatever comes next." As they turned to face the unknown, their future together uncertain but full of promise, Liam knew one thing for sure. Whatever it took, he and Ilyana would see it through. They weren't just fighting for their survival. They were fighting for a future where humans and Lethrians could coexist, a future where their differences didn't divide them, but made them stronger. And as they walked deeper into the heart of the Lethrian wilderness, Liam couldn't help but feel that this was only the beginning. The real fight was just ahead.